Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
And knocked down again. That was Christian Miller.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with four-time SEC champion and two-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites, from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
And knocked down again. That was Christian Miller.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with four-time SEC champion and two-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
And welcome into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope you guys are doing well. Had some technical difficulties there trying to get everything worked out, and now we do. So we're ready to rock and roll. Hope you guys are as well. Day number 6 of fall camp officially in the books. Reed, we're flying by almost a whole week into fall camp. So we got to talk about it. We'll have plenty to play. We got plenty of media that we got to get to and catch back up on, which I'm excited to do that because we didn't even get to finish Ryan Grubb's interview from yesterday, and he had a lot of good little nuggets in that interview. Just the first 4 minutes that we did watch from it, there was a number of things I wanted to pull away from it. And unfortunately, we didn't even have a whole bunch of time to dive into that. So I do want to circle back to that. It's only I don't think it was that long. I want to start there. We'll probably do that when we come back. Then, of course, we'll dive into, day 6 observations. Again, media was out there, again, pre-practice. So we got plenty of clips and video that will break down from that, kind of get the latest of what's going on. Plus, I feel like there's some little observations that we can kind of start pulling away from almost a week of fall camp, Reed. I mean, again, nothing's definitive, but when you start kind of piecing together some things, some certain groups that you see guys working, some of these battles, kind of the way they're trending, again, not definitive, but I feel like there's some little nuggets that we can pull away. So we'll talk about that. Of course, we'll answer y'all's questions. You can always join us on the streams at The Miller's Edge on YouTube, on X, at Christian Miller as well, my personal, and on the Tide 100.9 Facebook page. Speaking of Tide 100.9, make sure you guys download that app. It is completely free. It's a global app, allows people to listen to the shows all over the world. That is proven. Plus, you can check me out on the Crimson Tide Sports Network, where I will be hosting the pre- and post-game shows with Roger Hoover, Gray Robertson, before and after Alabama football games. So make sure you download that Tide 100.9 app for all of those reasons that we just mentioned there. Again, day number 6 in the books, Reed. We heard from the offensive side yesterday. I'm pretty sure we hear from the defensive side. I got to go back and verify on the media schedule. So we'll be on the lookout for that. Of course, we've learned the new schedule since they moved practice back, which is unfortunate because, kind of hard with the timing. But hour number 2 is when we kind of get those clips rolling in, those interviews. So we'll be on the lookout for those. We'll start a little bit with the offense from yesterday, piggyback off of that, get to some of those things that we didn't get to here in the first hour. Big thanks to Jimmy Stein of Locked On Bama, who joined us yesterday, and now he's going to be a regular here on the show every week. Jimmy will join us. Specifically on Mondays. Of course, we typically have Clint Lamb from Bama Online, right? Got to get the new platform in there. He, however, is at practice currently still, so he won't be able to join us today. We'll kind of punt that to maybe tomorrow or whenever we can kind of circle back to that. But we will get Clint back on here, and we'll keep adding some folks. If you guys have any, guests that you would be interested in us reaching out to, trying to get on here pretty consistently, let us know. I think it's always great to get fresh perspectives, and really enjoyed our conversation with Jimmy Stein yesterday. If you guys missed that, go check out yesterday's episode. I think you'll enjoy it. Really good stuff. And we look forward to having that all season long. That said, Reed, we got to go ahead and hit early break, right? Kind of get up to speed. When we come back, let's go ahead and hear from Ryan Grubb, right? Because, again, there's some important pieces that we can pull away from his interview, his press conference yesterday. Really went in depth about quarterback battle, the running backs, right? Which we're talking about earlier in the show. And then he kind of mentioned it. They had a big day yesterday, something that's really encouraging, right? We'll talk about that and more when we come back right here on this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.
The summer event is happening now at Townsend Honda, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa.
For well-qualified buyers with approval from Honda Financial Services. Offer ends September 8, 2026.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here
treating patients from every generation
across the United States
and from around the world.
We're here for the rookies
And the dreamers
trying to make a name for themselves.
We're here for the achievers
who are resilient
and won't take no for an answer.
We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors
who are
and build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Account subject to approval. J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy. For guidance you can trust, call 201-317-5115 or visit Lamparello-law.com. That's Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Proud partner.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. Blistering sunshine, 93. High humidity will make it feel like 105 and a light southwest breeze. Slight chance of a pop-up storm this afternoon. Fair sky overnight tonight, muggy, 76. Wednesday, an afternoon storm chance with a high 95. Sunny skies on Thursday, pushing temperatures to 97. Heat index values around 105. Richard DeWetting at the Weather Channel for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 92 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
The best station in the state, breaking down Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC Reed. Let me go ahead and pull up some clips from practice today. Again, let me make sure I mention this. Now, for all the luxury of having all these clips, just understand that they're probably going to start dwindling down a little bit because I think there is only one more media availability during fall camp. Now, the good news is they send out the B-roll clips, right? So if you see like the highlights from practice and it looks kind of like a little bit more professionally recorded, that's typically from the university. They're going to put out clips. So not saying you guys won't get all the practice clips anymore, but like the influx of practice clips on Twitter every morning that you guys have had for like the last 5 days, unfortunately, you only got one more opportunity of those because then they're kind of cutting down on the media. You have a scrimmage this Thursday. I really want to try to get out there. The timing is just... it's frustrating, man. They moved practice. Like before it was like, all right, practice in the morning, but it was like 30, 40 minutes earlier, I'm pretty sure. So I could still kind of like hover around, hang out just a little bit longer right after the media. Because I'll be honest with you, the media viewing period, and I was joking with Jimmy about this, all the clips that you guys see is literally what you would see if you had access to the media viewing period. Like, I'm not even kidding. There's so many media members out there recording every position. Literally what you guys are seeing circulate in those videos, there's no different. That's exactly what the media sees. So for me, I always enjoyed just hanging out after that portion, kind of taking advantage of the former player piece, which, again, why wouldn't I? Not even just that. I work for the network, so, it's part of the job. I got to know the people I'm talking about. So that's always, to me, Reed, a little bit like seeing the 11 on 11 stuff. Like, I hold that to a much, I don't know, that holds a lot more weight to me, right, than like indie drills where we can just watch clips and do all that. That said, they moved practice back like 30, 40 minutes, man. So now it's even harder to do that. So I don't know. Maybe we'll figure something out. My dad said that he would kind of hold it down in the meantime. But I'm going to be honest with you, Reed. Just listening to him yesterday with the interview with Jimmy Stein, I'm like, you can tell he wasn't doing his homework, man. I'm like, the one question he asked Jimmy was, who's going to be that guy to step up as a pass rusher? I'm just sitting there thinking in my head, I'm like, Yonze Pierre? Maybe he meant the other side. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, maybe he meant the other side. We got to give him, the fact.
I'm going to give that one to him. But I'm like, so then I'm kind of worried now because I'm like, man, I know he's been so focused on his book, man. And he could hold it down, but I'm like, he's going to have to actually like put in the effort to try to keep up with kind of, you know what I'm saying? Or, like we need more like athleticism on the interior. I'm like, we just brought in Devin Tompkins and we're just talking about Terrence Green shedding the weight, having more length. I'm like, man, you're not even listening to me. Like, he's not even tuning into the show. But anyway, I'm just playing around. Maybe we'll make that happen. That being said, let's break down a couple things, Reed, that I feel like have been kind of emerging from fall camp. We'll start diving into, I know we said Ryan Grubb, we'll get to that here in a second. Let's talk about a few things that I feel like are kind of emerging that are noteworthy. Number one, I would say with the offensive line battles, one interesting, I guess, development, you can somewhat call it, Waldrop, Mal Waldrop. He's really been kind of, how do you put this? Like, I guess kind of shocked some people in the sense of Will Sanders, right, was a guy that everybody has been speaking very highly of, given that he played last year. He did a good job when he got his opportunities last season. We knew that he was coming back from the I guess, injury, surgery, whatever he had during the offseason. I think he missed some time during the summer, but the whole expectation was pretty much, hey, we know there's going to be a battle at left guard, but a lot of people just felt pretty confident that he would be the guy just to go ahead and pencil in, right? Like all these preseason depth charts always had Will Sanders. But through 1 week of fall camp, it's really developed into a situation where it's more so like Mal Waldrop's job to lose at left guard, which I'll be honest with you, Reed, I don't think that's almost somewhat of a better situation. And here's why I say that. You already know what you got in Will Sanders. Like, you saw him go do that last year. He's coming off of, a surgery, injury, operation, whatever the case may be. So maybe he's still just a little bit behind the curve just with that, right? Things take time. But if not, at least you're saying, okay, now we have another guy who, the staff really liked, as a recruit, and people have been talking about him kind of behind the scenes, but to see that he's emerging and he's really taking those next steps, I almost view it as that's somewhat of a positive, because to me, it's like, all right, now we got two guys. If Mal Waldrop ends up earning the starting job, you see what I'm saying, Reed? It's like, okay, we have him as a starter because we really like the progress he's made, but we're not going to forget about Will Sanders either, right? And who knows, maybe it becomes a situation where, again, I know we said we're done with the musical chairs. We don't want to be shuffling, clearly. We don't want that to be the case, but maybe one of those guys can get kicked to right guard if you're having struggles at right tackle, because we know Michael Carroll also played right tackle. So if you need him to bump out there, now you got two guards that you feel strongly about. Not saying the other guys haven't really stepped up yet, but you see what I mean? Like, I just feel like that's something interesting to point out, because at least for me, I feel like everybody had Will Sanders as your projected starter at left guard. But there's been a lot of talk about Mal Waldrop in the job that he's done. Again, still very early. Things can change. That does not mean he's been named a starter. It just means he's having a really good camp, and they like where he's at and what they've seen out of him. So to me, I thought that was something that was noteworthy, something that's really stood out. Another thing, AK Deer, I feel like is having a really good camp. A lot of people are noticing kind of some of the things that he's done. Of course, the backs all are really kind of, in my opinion, having a good camp. You keep hearing people talk about them. Ryan Grubb yesterday, we'll hear it in a minute. He really highlighted those guys, right? Daniel Hill looks impressive, having a little bit of a transformation. He's just moving a little bit different. We saw in the spring, he just was running behind his pads a little bit more, which I thought was awesome, given, the build that he has at the running back spot. But now to hear that he's moving even better as well, a little bit more explosive, because he's a guy that, you don't really expect a whole bunch of that from him just because of the back he is. But he's put in a lot of work, and he's trying to work towards that. He's trying to improve some of his, I guess, weaknesses, right? And to me, I think that's something noteworthy for sure. We talked a little bit about the quarterbacks yesterday, Reed, and it's interesting because Jimmy was on here, and something he mentioned was definitely interesting. It's funny because depending on who you ask, right, some people are going to say, man, Keelan's looking good. I just feel like he almost has a little bit of a slight edge. Others are going to say, man, Austin Mack's been looking really good. They feel like he's kind of got a little bit of a slight edge. We've always said, it feels like Keelan would have to take that job, right? I'm not, and again, it's way too early. And just like Jimmy had mentioned, I think you have to wait till scrimmage one will definitely be a kind of determining kind of where things are. But to me, I don't know, man. I'm just kind of getting a little bit of a vibe, Reed, that I would not be shocked if it's Austin Mack starting week one and then kind of going from there. What do you think about that? Because, there's been a lot of reports that have talked about, you hear a lot about Keelan, but again, it kind of circles back to Austin Mack a little bit, right? And we've read some of those quotes. We heard from some of the players talking about both guys. I know people read into that clip about the guys swarming Keelan, but it just sounds to me like Austin Mack is also performing really well, very consistent. And there's just that little piece to him that, you're getting what you would expect out of a guy that has a little bit more time in the system. And anything that you've heard or seen that's kind of caught your attention, maybe with the quarterbacks or anything like we mentioned?
No, I guess to quickly mention on the quarterbacks, and then I'll go over to the offensive line observation you made. But I think it really comes down to if it's that close between Keelan Russell and Austin Mack, I think it's a word that I believe Ryan Grubb's been saying is who can run the offense better, right? Just have a general command, right? And I think there's several aspects that go into that. But if the race is that close, then I think you have to look at the one of, hey, who can run, who could take command of this entire offense, the better out of the two. And I think with the whole Mal Waldrop situation, I think that's honestly great, Christian, because like you pointed out, Ryan Grubb wants to get his best five. And if his best five is considered Mal Waldrop, I wouldn't say he's necessarily overshadowed because kind of fall practice just started. But if he's going out and shining, and we know, like you said, we know the bar that Will Sanders is giving us, then I feel pretty confident that we might sooner or later get that starting five that we've been expecting.
And that's the goal. But I'm also kind of like, the only drawback to that, the more I was thinking about it, Reed, was like, man, they obviously like Will Sanders, and Mal Waldrop starts stepping up. Hopefully then they don't start going, hey, let's kind of get both these guys. I don't think they're going to do that. Hopefully it doesn't turn into that. But that was the only downside. I thought, I was like, there's so many positives to hearing Mal Waldrop stepping up like he is at left guard. But then I was like, man, hopefully that doesn't make the decision so tough that we start seeing some rotating again at that. Because I'm like, please, I don't think that's what we're going to get, but that's the last thing that we need right now. In terms of some things on defense, Devin Tompkins and Terrence Green, those guys continue to just flash and step up. A lot of people really excited about those guys as portal additions. This was something that was mentioned yesterday during the viewing period about they're doing some of those kind of setting the edge type drills, right? Having tight ends and edge guys going up against each other. Tight ends look good, man, especially Josh Ford. You just see the physicality that everybody raves about, right? So I feel like pieces are coming together, Reed, right? We're 6 days in through fall camp. Pieces are really starting to come together. And I don't know, man. I feel like this team is like, we talked about the intentionality, right? Just their focus right now. I feel like this whole playing as an underdog thing might be one of the best things to happen to these guys, to be honest with you. Just this attitude that I feel like we're seeing right now. I don't know. It feels like it's definitely, I don't know, doing something, right? Just at least the way they're attacking things. We got to hit a timeout. We come back. Let's go ahead and listen to Ryan Grubb again real quick, just to kind of recap what he had to say. We got defensive coaches / players, I believe. We'll get to those in the second hour. We'll keep talking fall camp. Day 6 in the books. We'll talk about the intel nuggets coming out of camp practice today that just finished up not long ago. And we'll keep on rolling.
The summer event is happening now at Townsend Honda, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa.
For well-qualified buyers with approval from Honda Financial Services. Offer ends September 8, 2026.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here
Treating patients from every generation
across the United States
and from around the world.
We're here for the rookies
And the dreamers.
trying to make a name for themselves.
We are here for the achievers.
Who are resilient.
And won't take no for an answer.
We're here for the coaches
athletic trainers, and mentors
who are
of the Crimson Tide. Sold in stadium and at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and Professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy. For guidance you can trust, call 201-317-5115 or visit lamparello-law.com. That's Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
Follow the Crimson Tide on their journey to another national championship.
Touchdown, Alabama!
On your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
This Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right. I know we listened to, the first 4 minutes yesterday, as I think right before we got to Jimmy. But we didn't really get to respond and talk about exactly what he said. And he dropped a lot of good stuff. And this is only 8 minutes, Reed. So let's go ahead and listen to this, and then we'll respond. And if you guys listened to it already, I apologize. But again, it's 8 minutes, and I feel like we can really dive into a number of things he said. And, of course, we'll get to the defensive side here in hour number 2 coming up. But without further ado, let's hear from offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb, who spoke to the media following practice number 5 yesterday.
Running backs, how are they progressing now that you're about a week into camp? I'm glad you asked that today. I thought we had some really, really good runs today. A couple pops on some cutback lanes if guys got their shoulders square. Daniel had a nice one. TB had another good one. AK Deer had a touchdown on a rail route. It was a competitive day for the running back. So I felt like it was coming from all different directions. So everybody was showing up and doing a really good job. So I think that the competition, is held strong. Those guys I think that's one of the biggest parts right now is the guys feeling that level of competition in the room.
Matter of fact, let's do it like this, Reed. We'll just break it down as we go, because I think that's even better. That's very encouraging. And we were talking about the backs yesterday. I asked Jimmy about it. And listen, last year, offensive line, they had they had poor performances. They did not perform the way you needed them to perform. But the running backs didn't really help much either. To hear kind of where they're at right now, to me, that's encouraging, Reed. First thing you mentioned was they had some big, cutbacks, right? Got their shoulders squared. To me, that's a big difference from last year, right? Where guys just were missing holes it just, things would be there and they just, I don't know if they didn't see it. They didn't want to take the opportunity. I don't know. But to hear him mention that was consistent in yesterday's practice, or at least there was a number of times that they saw that, I thought that was big. And then he also just went on to mention, I think somebody scored off a wheel route. I think it was Daniel Hill, right? Which they've always talked about. He's a guy with soft hands, a guy that can catch football out of the backfield. So the more we listen to him, the more you're hearing him talk about the competition in that room and all the guys that are stepping up. And I think it's just making everybody better. I think all the competition in that room is really elevating everybody's game. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing so far through the first 6 days of fall camp.
Can you elaborate on AK? What have you seen from him over the last year that's kind of put him in this position of
maturity? And I mean that. I can remember being right out here in fourth quarter with him, and just the things that he thought were possible at that time compared to what he thinks possible now is very different. So I think he's a great teammate. He's a guy who can lighten the mood, spark guys a little bit, and that's been something that's been really enjoyable. But also, just being a better football player. Like AK understanding protections was one of the issues of getting on the field, and he's come a long ways.
The offense having the hardest time blocking right now?
We got a couple good guys on defense. DT's been phenomenal as a player. He plays out on the edge. He'll play in the B gap on you. He's a really tough player. He's super versatile. And then, obviously Yanze, think the world of him. And I thought, just early in camp, I've seen Yanze kind of take it to another level. So he's done a great job. Red Morgan, I think is fantastic off the edge as a nickel. I think he's one of the most slippery guys I've seen out there. And then obviously Hub, when he pressures, is really, really tough to block as well.
What's allowed Racing to sort of translate to the SEC and then to play with his a little bit of lack of size with him?
Yeah, Racing's bigger than people think. I mean, he operates, over 300 pounds pretty consistently. And, I just always tell him he kind of looks like a retired surfer. He's got a little bit of that going on. So that's not, at first you're kind of looking at him like, how big is this guy? But he's got decent size. He's super athletic, though. And I think that's the part that when he got out there and just played and realized he had the athleticism and physicality to do this, especially against our front, I think that gives him the confidence that he knows he can do it. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it starts with how that room has operated, honestly, since the, off season. I would say they might be the closest room on the team. They support each other. They push each other. And so when they don't see it and the bar or the standard isn't reached, they're not scared to challenge each other. I think, the drill work that Coach Owens works with those guys, he's extremely demanding. The run game piece has really come along with those guys. But I think the drill work looks like the team reps, and I think that's, where it starts. When you can transition, achieving what you emphasize and showing up on team reps, that's a huge part of it. Not yet. No, not yet. They've been doing a good job. It's been even battle.
How's Coach Ellis been with those guys, and his approach with quarterbacks had to be maybe a little different than it was with tight ends?
Yeah, obviously Coach Ellis was a really good quarterback himself. Has coached that position before, and so I think that transition honestly was probably easier for him than the transition to coaching tight ends. I think he's a natural quarterback coach. He's got good demeanor. Coach Ellis is one of the best guys that he's a relationship builder. I think you got to have that in the quarterback room. They got to feel the belief. They got to know that you're knowledgeable and you understand structures of defenses and where to put the ball. But at the end of the day, they need guys that can, have their back. And Coach Ellis is outstanding at that.
We won't talk to you until the scrimmage on Thursday. What are you looking from both the quarterbacks to move the needle in that competition on Thursday?
Yeah, I think the command of, I keep saying command. And I think one of the things that, I've been challenging them just now is command of a practice. I want to know what it feels like when the chips are down a little bit in a practice, or maybe we had a 3-and-out to move the ball. What do they look like? And, how are their teammates responding to them? So certainly you can't just have the rah-rah guy start if you can't throw the freaking ball. But I'm definitely looking for command because they're both capable physically of making all the plays. So now you're starting to look at decision-making, completion percentages, turnovers, explosives, how all those things obviously weigh out. But then also just, does it look like that guy believes, like, I'm going to make this play? And, both those guys are getting better at that every day.
talk about Rayson's athleticism.
Yeah.
And obviously Parker was an athletic guy too. How important is it to have an athletic center for what you want to do offensively?
I think, the first thing is you got to have some scheme that fits that, you want a guy versatile enough that you can run some pin pull, some counter, get him out on the move on screens, things like that. But at the same time, you need a guy that can be strong enough to hold the middle and the A-gap run duo, and get physical and move the line of scrimmage. And I really do think Rayson has that blend.
Germany did a lot with you guys in terms of jet sweeps, going over the field, did everything. Is there a guy who you think can approximate that, or is it just trying to get that production out of the whole room?
I would say, first of all, Ryan Williams is a guy that I think you put him in any situation and he's electric with the football. So I think Ryan is a guy that starts there. Latsier is fantastic in space. You kind of start there with those two guys, and I think they're really good answers. Yeah. Yeah, I think Rico and Derek Meadows are growing every day. I thought Rico had a really good day today. Derek's been showing up every day. Derek might be one of the hardest workers on the team, both in the classroom and on the field. And, is a guy that, just like any young player, sometimes they stay down when the plays are down and struggle to get back up there. And now I've just seen Derek just fight right back right away and been really impressed. Those two guys have stood out quite a bit. And then Sedarian, for a young guy, is still learning, but is making a lot of plays as well. Between each other, I think they're highly competitive. I've been super impressed with what the guys look like initially, just the energy between each other. But I think the key for any good football team, what our guys have done a good job, or I think honestly maybe a better job than last year, is you want a team that is competitive, not combative. And that's what I've seen. You got to have the ability, there's going to be some skirmishes. Don't get me wrong, but guys can get over it. They can go talk after practice. And I think you're starting to see a really tight football team, and that'll take us a long ways. We're getting there. Rayson, I thought he had a little bit of a down day yesterday in the command department. I think it starts there with how he communicates. Mal Waldrop's been a guy that's been kind of a guy that's a good echo player. Like you're hearing the calls come back from Mal. He's really helped. So I think you're looking at some of the glue guys. Michael Carroll's getting a lot more vocal, which has been really, really good to see. So I think when the voice comes from the inside out to those guys, the lines of communication are a lot cleaner, and the gel will happen a lot quicker when you get that voice from the inside out.
Has Mal been a surprise for you?
No, Mal hasn't. I think, he's always had this really steadfast, kind of stoic, I'm going to be able to get this done. I think maybe he might be potentially ahead of schedule for what maybe some people thought, but we always knew he was tough and smart and dependable, and that's really what has shown up is a physical football player.
Coach, you mentioned how the quarterback, or how the team responds to the quarterbacks. How big of a role does that play in the overall decision?
I think if it's even money, it plays a really big part. If all things are equal, statistically, how they're playing, all those things, then, you're obviously looking for the guy that can lead the football team a little bit better. But at the end of the day, again, you still have to have a guy that can make plays. I've coached guys that are extremely quiet in practice and are exceptional leaders on Saturdays. Michael Penix is a great example of that. So you have to work with the guys in that regard, but continue to help them grow.
All right, so that was offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb from yesterday's practice. Had to catch up on that press conference. A lot of things to pull away from that, and we'll do that when we come back after this quick timeout right here on this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We will hear from the defensive side coming up here shortly, so we look forward to doing that right here on the Miller's Edge. Don't go anywhere. Quick timeout. We'll be right back. Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt Restoration, we transform driveways and parking lots with expert repairs, new paving, or resurfacing. Fast, durable, and family-owned quality that you can trust. Don't let small issues turn into big expenses. Call 205-393.
Final stop. Aleve will keep you moving. From sun up to sundown, Aleve's got your back this summer. Feel Aleve. Use as directed for minor aches and pains.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy. For guidance,
9,000. That's 909,000 for a free consultation. No fees unless we win. No representation is made that the quality of legal services performed is greater than that of other lawyers.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama,
We are here
treating patients from every generation
across the United States
and from around the world.
We're here for the rookies
And the dreamers,
trying to make a name for themselves.
we are here for the achievers
Who are resilient.
and won't take no for an answer.
We're here for the coaches
Athletic trainers and mentors.
Who are shaping the next generation of legends. We are here for you.
aggressively pursuing victory over injury.
Learn more at andrewsportsmedicine.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. Blistering sunshine, 93. High humidity will make it feel like 105 and a light southwest breeze. Slight chance of a pop-up storm this afternoon. Fair sky overnight tonight, muggy, 76. Wednesday, an afternoon storm chance with a high 95. Sunny skies on Thursday, pushing temperatures to 97. Heat index values around 105. Richard DeWetting of the Weather Channel for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 92 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
The best sports talk in the state. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Into the Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Read anything from Ryan Grubb's press conference before we put that behind us that really stood out. I know he talked about Mal Waldrop. One thing about that I wanted to point out, he said smart, tough, dependable. Those are all qualities and characteristics that you want out of an offensive lineman, right? To me, it was kind of like they really like then he really emphasized him echoing the calls, right? It almost sounds like he has better communication than the dang center, right? So to me, he is really I think what's really separating him, of course, is play, but I think just what he's providing, right, for that offensive line, knowing how much of an issue the execution and communication was at times last season. I think if you're trying to compete right now for an offensive line position, I think that's probably one of the best things that you can do. You can prove that you can communicate, you know what you're doing, you can execute. I'm not saying he's not physically impressive. You see what I'm saying? But I think that's something that's probably giving him a lot of, brownie points right now. And there's a reason he's continuously showing up as the first team left guard. So the way it's kind of I know somebody asked yesterday in terms of like a depth chart, way too early to do that. But I would say the way it's kind of taken shape, Reed, I would say Rayson Delgatti, Mal Waldrop at left guard, then left tackle, Jackson Lloyd, and then still Michael Carroll at right guard, and then Javen James and Nick Brooks are competing at right tackle, which I still think, Javen James is a little bit probably more his to lose type deal as of now, though. But again, things can definitely change. What's interesting is really to me right now, outside the quarterback battle, is who's going to be that third receiver to really step up. Ryan Williams, Latsier Brooks, of course, everybody's going to immediately mention those two guys. But Derek Meadows, I feel like he's I don't even know if I would say quietly started sneaking up there, but I feel like he's really been consistently kind of performing well and putting people on notice. So I think there's a chance, you see a lot of him. But you heard Ryan Grubb mention Cedarius Morgan, who we know is uber talented and can line up inside out. Kind of like, Larry Fitzgerald was a bigger body receiver that also played inside out. I mean, I'm not necessarily comparing him to Larry Fitzgerald. Shout out to Larry Fitzgerald, but just kind of thought about that after seeing Luke Kuechly be inducted in the Hall of Fame, seeing Larry Fitzgerald and all that stuff. But anyway, that's it. Let's go to the phone lines. 205-342-9904. We got Pat up first. Pat, welcome in.
Hey, man. Mal Waldrop has been. Hey, I've been missing you. Mal Waldrop has been doing a whole lot at all fall camp. You've heard his name mentioned numerous times. And like Dolly Parton said, hey, even bad publicity is good publicity. When they mention in your name and it's not really hey, it's all been positive. And so, hey, you might be right, but I think he's going to get playing time this fall for sure. And
who you said Mal Waldrop?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we just were saying. I mean, everything's kind of pointing right now that he's the guy to beat at left guard. So, yeah, I mean, barring anything changes, I mean, in terms of maybe, I don't know, scrimmage number one, Will Sanders is, playing with his hair on fire, and they just feel like, man, you see what I'm saying? Right now, he's, I would say, in the lead at left guard. So, I expect him to definitely contribute. Just hearing how Ryan Grubb talked about it.
Yeah. Did you make it to Saturday to the media day?
No, I didn't get to get. No, I didn't. Were you in there?
Yeah. And but what I was so impressive, I got to go up and talk to Mr. Tompkins and tell him that I appreciated him coming to Tuscaloosa. And man, what a difference in the middle of that line size-wise. Jeez, and the defensive ends and outside linebackers is what I'm impressed with. That I think that this front seven is going to make this, because our secondary is supposed to be our strong suit. Hey, but I think they're going to make them look like superstars, because I think they're going to be able to take on some double teams in the middle and stuff, free up some linebackers to fill holes and things, and do what I went to a clinic with Rex Ryan, and being able to take on two blockers to help free up that linebacker makes a major difference. And they're going to have to put two blockers to stop Tompkins. I just thoroughly believe that. What do you think?
Yeah, so, I mean, definitely being able to eat up blocks is always going to help your linebackers, right? Help them play clean, right? Keep those guards off them. That's a really big deal. Yeah, I mean, I think guys like Tompkins and even Terrence Green, I think they can be very beneficial. I mean, to me, Tompkins at that interior spot, like playing in like maybe a 3 technique when he's more like sliding inside at D tackle, I want to see a little bit more of that. I mean, he plays bandit a little bit more on early downs, I guess probably depending on the situation. But going off his tape from last year, there were times he did struggle when he was playing the run from the inside. So I want to keep seeing more of that before I kind of say, hey, I think he's going to, come in here and be that guy demanding these double teams. Because I'll be honest, last year on tape, he wasn't necessarily that guy. I'm not saying he can't be, but I didn't see it consistently on tape. But I would say that with the depth that we have and even Jeremiah Beeman, these guys coming back, right? I mean, I think there's a lot of guys on the interior that definitely offer more athleticism. But I think there are also some dudes that are strong, man. I mean, like Steve Boomwa is he's a tank, right? Now, granted, I don't know how many opportunities we see him have. Hopefully some, because he's intriguing. But I do think the size, the length that those guys have, I think that is going to help those linebackers be a little bit more clean. And it's going to definitely probably pay dividends. But right now, I think with Caleb Woodson, QB Reese, and a little bit of Luke Metz, I think those are your 3 guys you'll probably see the most of that inside backer. And I'm sure they'll really appreciate having guys like Terrence Green and Devin Tompkins in front of them.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm excited for this whole defense. I look forward to it. And what I told them all, I said, what I would like to see out of y'all is for people to fear playing Alabama again. I want the defense to impose their will. Again, we haven't had that in some time. What do you think?
I agree with you. That would be nice to see, I guess, a return of that type of dominance, especially up front. So I think we got some good pieces to work with, Pat. I definitely do. They just got to go out there and do it consistently. That's the biggest thing. They got to go out there and do it consistently. And I think that's the first step of reestablishing that standard. And hopefully they can do that this season. Pat, we appreciate the phone call, man. Good to catch up with you.
Hey, have a blessed one. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. You too, brother. Good deal, man. Well, that'll do it for hour number 1. Hour number 2 coming up, and we'll have, I want to say, hopefully defensive side. Speaking to the media, I still need to double check the calendar, but we'll have some interviews coming up right here on this Talking Tuesday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Steve DeSager.
The Dallas Cowboys gave defensive tackle Quinnen Williams a 3-year extension worth just over $100 million guaranteed. In the WNBA, Seattle ended an 11-game losing streak, beating Chicago 97-88. Atlanta sent Toronto to a 9th straight loss, 107-95. Angel Reese, 20 points, 14 rebounds, and in tennis, Iga Swiatek won her quarterfinal in Toronto. To baseball, 7 straight wins for Tampa Bay. The Rays scored 8 times in the top of the 8th and won at the A's 10-6. Junior Caminero with his 34th homer. San Diego beat Milwaukee, the team with the best record in the majors, 3-2 in a comeback. Arizona 9-0 over Colorado. First inning grand slam from Nolan Arenado. Minnesota and Philadelphia with wins. The Mets as well saved Kodai Senga. The Mets placed closer Devin Williams on the IL. 10-inning wins for Texas and Houston. Dodgers beat the Royals 6-5.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites, from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and Professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy. For guidance you can trust, call 201-317-5115 or visit lamparello-law.com. That's Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Proud partner.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Harding Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Brian Harding Construction is woman-owned and strong as steel. A specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rentals. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian Harding Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611. 9611.
And knocked down again. That was Christian Miller.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with 4-time SEC champion and 2-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
Into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, practice number 6 of fall camp in the books. We're talking our key takeaways. We'll do that here in a second. We'll hear from the defense, I believe. Again, I need to pull up this media schedule. Reed, you don't have that in front of you by chance, do you? Yeah, okay, it's in my email, and I was like, I don't feel like trying to search all the way back while I'm trying to read chats and bring us back from break, but should be the defense. It should be the defense. So we'll have some interviews that we'll pull up and listen to here in a moment. But in terms of day 6, we got the clips playing on the screen, as you guys can see, right? Full pads, by the way, something to point out, right? They actually have full pads. So we're trucking along. Scrimmage number 1 is Thursday, and I think a lot of people are really anticipating that. We all know that's your first real test, right? Or at least, it's, as a former player, man, like for us, the scrimmages were like, of course, what you're doing in practice means a whole lot every single day. I mean, you want to go out there and compete, go put out good, reps on tape because it's how it works, man. You go out there. For us, we practice in the afternoon or a little bit later. So we would watch tape, go practice, eat, lift, then watch more tape of what you just did. So you want to go put out, good tape every single day. But the scrimmages were like, it was almost like everything you're doing up to that. The scrimmage was like, all right, this is where your moment. So really looking forward to that piece. Reed, anything you really want to hear coming out of scrimmage number one? Anything that, because I know someone asked a good question, like, what would I need to see to have more like confidence, right, from this football team moving forward? I immediately said I want like the trenches. Like if I show up in the trench players, you see physicality, you see guys getting after it, and you want it to be a little balanced, right? Like I don't want to see just the running game just taking off. Of course, we would all be cheering and jumping up with joy that the running game looks great, but then I'd be like, damn, we can't stop the run. So you want to have a nice little balance. Like I want to see offense break some runs like Ryan Grubb mentioned that they did yesterday in practice. Then I also want to see the defense do a little bit of their thing too. But I think trench play overall, Reed, and just the intensity that they play with, right? Just, everything they do, like with having meaning, right? Intentionality, right? Like just attacking. I think that would really make me feel good. Anything that you want to see out of scrimmage one that's coming up?
I think two main points. I think physicality, I think we could both agree on, as well as I think I want to see a lot more of filling gaps, right? Like just making it difficult on, of course, our running back game, it's pretty extensive. Several guys, like Ryan Grubb said, there's not been one that has sticked out. It's been very competitive. Well, let's not make it easy on them. Let's give them a hard time, fill those gaps and make them earn it for it.
100%. Couple other little notes real quick to hit while we are coming into hour number 2 right here. Lot Impact Trophy. They named Bray Hubbard to their watch list, Alabama defensive back. I just posted a little short on Bray yesterday, a matter of fact. Just talking about, someone asked last week, I think it was, the impact that we expect from him. And I think he's going to have a good year. I hope people don't just base it off of numbers, because I feel like a lot of times guys have very productive years, then like the following year, for whatever reason, like sometimes numbers kind of fluctuate. It is what it is. But my whole thing is when you turn on the tape, Bray Hubbard, man, he does so many things so well that I think he's going to have a phenomenal year. But he was named to the Lot Impact Trophy, which is named after former NFL, of course, star Ronnie Lott. And it goes to the Defensive Impact Player of the Year player who has had the biggest impact on his team, both on and off the field. So Bray Hubbard was named to that. Coach DeBoer was named to the Dodd Trophy watch list. The Maxwell Award has named Ryan Coleman Williams there. Michael Carroll on the Outland Trophy watch list. The Nagurski has both Xavier Brown and Bray Hubbard. And the Lou Groza Award, I always mispronounce that, Lorcan Quinn, which there is an ongoing kicking battle, which, has anybody talked about that, Reed? I haven't heard a whole bunch of people talking about it. I'll be honest, I hadn't even paid attention to it myself. So I was curious if maybe I just was missing something. I don't know. But interesting enough, the guy that transferred in is named to the watch list. So, I mean, I don't know if that is kind of telling, but I'm sure it probably, I don't know, says a little bit of something. And then get this, you might have to help me out with this one, Reed. The Werfel? What is the Werfel Trophy? Maybe people are going to be like, dude, you don't know what that is? I'll be honest with you. What is that? I don't know. It says Barrett Jones was the last winner that Alabama's had. Werffel. Werfel?
Yeah, I think we're going to go with that.
I mean, have you heard of that?
I haven't, no. Just not at least off the top of my head.
Widely regarded as college football's premier award for community service. Oh, I'm terrible, man. I'm a terrible person. Clearly, I'm a terrible person. I didn't know what the community service award was.
Well, see, of course we know, oh, okay, this person won this award, right? But when it comes down to the specific, named after player name, that's when you start losing me.
Danny, here, thank you, Ron Hollywood and Mikey in the chat. Dan Werfel. Am I pronouncing this though right, guys? Say yes if I'm pronouncing this right. Dan Werfel. Werfel? I don't know. He's a former quarterback at Florida, man. So he won the Heisman the year I was born. So people can't get too mad. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, guys. Okay, so I'm saying it right. The Werfel. Okay, all right. So you got the Werfel Award. Bray Hubbard also named it that. Bray is just lighting up all these preseason award lists, man. I love that, man. That's awesome. We need to try to get Bray back on here. You know, he kind of set the trend for some of these breakdowns, man. We had him on last summer. I don't know if you guys saw this. And we just put up some of his highlights, and we were like breaking down his plays on the stream, and it's actually really fun, man. I need to contact Alex over there in the media side of things, because I got some ideas that I think you guys will really enjoy. I just need them to kind of say, all right, yeah, Christian, we'll let you get a little 20 minutes with our guys to do something fun. I think you guys will enjoy that. Anyway, that said, let's keep on rolling. I don't know if those press conferences have rolled in just yet, so we'll wait on that for a second. But Reed, I want to talk a little bit about this secondary, man, because listen, I feel like we're not talking about them as much because you just feel like you know what to expect. But the more I keep just seeing them, like, getting after it, just looking at this group, man, like, I really think this. And let me slow it down, though, because I hate when people jump the gun too much. But I look at this secondary, and I'm like, man, this might be truly. And I play with like a lot of good dudes in the secondary, like a lot. I really do think between the talent, the skill, the pieces that they have, and what they bring to the table, and the depth, I do believe that this secondary could potentially be one of those groups. Now, the reason I'm saying one of those groups, because I'm not going to sit there, I'm not going to take it too far, because I know why, and then some other folks last year were like, man, this wide receiver room is like the next version of the wideouts. And I was like, whoa, we got to pump the brakes way too quick. They were good last year, the receiver room, but I wouldn't call them wideouts, right? That's why you got to be careful anointing folks like that. So I don't want to sit there and say, hey, man, I think our secondary is going to be as good as. What year would you say was our like best secondary that we had under Coach Saban? The problem with me is I don't even know, at least like statistically, I don't know, but I'm just thinking like 2016 comes to mind.
That's the one that came to my mind.
Yeah, because we had so many like defensive touchdowns, right? So many, turnovers. You had Minka, you had Eddie Jackson. Dude, like that unit itself was just. Anyway, so looking at this unit right now, I really feel like the potential that they have could, when it's all said and done, have them in a conversation like one of those units. Am I sunshine pumping and chapsticking right now? Be honest, Reed. I know, because it's really early. And listen, I'm just saying, like, the more you see these guys, you're like, dang, man, that's a hell of a group. And it's not one spot. I mean, like, you got Xavier Brown, you got Dejon Lee. Both safeties are good. I know Keon Sabb last year, I feel like it was a little bit, I wouldn't necessarily say a down year, but I don't think he played his best ball. But we know the player he can be, right? Like, I mean, he's a good football player. Like, he's got the talent. Bray Hubbard, right? I mean, we just read his name on like every award watch list. Red Morgan, a guy that wasn't like the highest recruited guy, but the way he plays the game, man. So, like, you got some dogs in that room. You got some guys that are definitely NFL talent type guy, multiple guys, right? And then you have the depth. You got Drake Kirkpatrick Jr., you got Ivan Taylor, who I think is going to end up having a really solid year. Carmelo O'Neal, the coaches rave about this guy. I don't know. I feel like there's not really – the only thing I think you could maybe say about that secondary maybe would be – and the goal is they're going to play some more man. We heard Dejon Lee talk about playing more press coverage, which I think is great. Maybe they took a couple of notes from Roman and Coach Saban, or hell, even maybe us on the show when we talked about it. Probably not, but we'll just throw that in there. Maybe as you had, I don't like, we have such length, and I know these guys can move well, but some of these guys I haven't seen play just a whole bunch of man, so I don't exactly know how that looks. Does that make sense? Yeah. That would be like the only question. Like, and if they can check that off, Reed, if I watch this group and they're like, hey man, they have the ability to, we can go line up and play as much man as we want. Not that we're going to do that, but those guys with that length and the skill sets that they have, they're also capable of doing that. Oh, no. I mean, that's a dangerous group. That's why I'm so excited to see more of this press, to see a little bit more man. Because I'm like, with those body types, that could be a hell of a unit, man. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, Christian. With a lot of the returning talent in that secondary, I think it could end up, going down as one of the better ones. But the real question is, in order to be one of the better or even the best, you have to limit your weakness. And really the question is, and that's what I was going to ask you, and maybe that is your answer, is really what is this secondary's weakness? We say that this is our strongest unit. Is it the uncertainty of whether we can excel in man coverage, or do we just have to strictly rely on zone? What do you think is the weakness of the secondary heading into the season?
Yeah, I would probably lean towards, I don't know if I can call it a weakness just because it's more of an unknown to me, right? We just played off so much. We played a lot of off coverage last year, a lot of zone, where I haven't seen enough of those guys doing it, in my opinion, to really know how good they can. Xavier Brown, I'm not really worried about. Like, the way he's like a technician. He kind of fits the mold of like Pat, those kind of guys, in terms of just like he's got good length, a hell of a technician. Like, now I'm not saying he is Pat Surtain. I mean, that's Pat's like the best corner in the NFL. But you get the point. Like, he's kind of inching towards that type of guy. He can just kind of do it all. But to me, like Dejoun Lee, then you think about even some of these young guys. I mean, like I didn't mean like Jordan Edmonds. Like, he was really impressive. He's a true freshman. I'm not saying he's going to get a whole bunch of burn, but just seeing like the guys that they've brought in and they have in this room, like, I mean, it seems like the potential is endless. But to answer your question, yeah, I would say it would probably be predicated off of, can they comfortably play a little bit more man coverage? And I think if they can answer that, Bill, to me, I think that just would totally elevate the secondary, because I think that was one of the biggest issues that they faced like last year, just playing really soft, giving up some explosives, right, when they didn't really need to. Sometimes it's just like, man, just let your guys play. Like Coach Saban always said that. If your guys are better than their guys, line them up and play. And to me, we're over here raving about the secondary. Granted, they're a little bit different than your traditional one. They're all really tall, lengthy guys, not necessarily known to be, the most fluid guys, especially, at that position if you're going to have that type of length. But I feel like these guys are somewhat of, outliers. And if that is the case, Reed, yeah, I think that kind of clears that question mark up. I don't know if I would necessarily say quite the weakness, but yeah, I mean, I don't really think there's a whole bunch. I mean, they're physical. Both corners are physical. Normally that's a big weakness. You're like, oh man, these guys, they're soft. They don't want to offer run support. I don't see that in either of the corners. Damn sure don't see it with Red Morgan. Don't see it with Bray Hubbard. Keon Sabb, I mean, sometimes a little bit of a, hit or miss on that. But you're telling me 4 out of your 5 guys are all physical and offer good run support, can all cover, right, can force turnovers. It's hard to really find something that they're just not good at. That's why I said the man coverage piece is really just kind of just the question mark for me. So yeah, that's a good question, though. Really good question. All right, we got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we keep on rolling. 205-342-9904 is the number if you guys want to get in on the conversation. We will be hearing from some players and coaches coming up shortly as well. So we'll listen to it, we'll react to it, and all that good stuff right here.
Call us today at 205-339-6540 or visit us at adamssvcs.com. We appreciate your business.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy.
You'll endure for years to come.
Check out our collection of officially licensed Alabama jewelry in store or online at hudsonpool.com.
And roll tide.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama,
We are here treating patients from every generation,
across the United States,
and from around the world.
We're here for the rookies
And the dreamers.
trying to make a name for themselves.
We are here for the achievers.
who are resilient.
And won't take no for an answer.
We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors.
who are shaping the next generation of legends. We are here for you.
aggressively pursuing victory over injury.
Learn more at andrewsportsmedicine.com.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. Blistering sunshine, 93. High humidity will make it feel like 105 and a light southwest breeze. Slight chance of a pop-up storm this afternoon. Fair sky overnight tonight, muggy, 76. Wednesday, an afternoon storm chance with a high 95. Sunny skies on Thursday, pushing temperatures to 97. Heat index values around 105. Richard DeWetting of the Weather Channel for Town Square Media Tuscaloosa.
It's 93 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Catch every game and every moment right here. This is your home of Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge. Let me sit straight up in my seat where you just getting a little slouched and comfortable for a second, man. We got some questions rolling in from the chat, so let's go ahead and answer these. Again, you guys always can drop questions. Sometimes it's easier if you put like the letter Q or something like that, so I can see it and make sure I immediately answer. But I've been rambling at this point, so you guys drop some questions. You guys are already doing that, so let's read some of these. Let's see. Here we go. There you go. See the cue from Mr. Keith, man. He started a trend. Do you see the Oklahoma State tight end transfer being a Robbie Oots run game gem? Shout out to Robbie Oots, man. Won a Super Bowl with the Seahawks, by the way. And he's a Carolina guy. He's from, I think, about 45 minutes down the road from where I grew up. I think Rock Hill area. Anyway, I think Josh Ford is going to be a phenomenal piece that we look back on and say, hey, man, he was a huge pickup. Now, again, we have to see these things kind of come into fruition. I think my dog is a big fan of Josh Ford as well. But no, I do think in terms of what we needed, right, out of our tight end room, I think Josh Ford answers that 100%. Like, if you think about last year in the tight end group, right, you were hoping to have Danny Lewis in there, who is a physical guy, more of a wide tight end. Again, wide tight end is your inline tight end, a bigger guy. They're going to be your primary blocking tight end, right? Their strong suit is to block, right? H's, they're a guy that can play off, sometimes line up in the backfield a little bit. You can flex them out. You can flex Wise out, but you get the point. Sometimes they're more of that pass catching guy. Sometimes the H is a little bit more of a fullback style, but your Y's are your bigger, longer inline guys. And you were hoping to have Danny Lewis kind of provide that role last year, but he battled so many injuries. You really saw Josh Cuevas and the true freshman Caleb Edwards getting the most opportunities in the tight end room. And then even when they tried to get some of those younger guys some opportunities later due to injuries, you could just tell they were missing something in that room. It was obvious. When we did the breakdown on the running game, they did a pretty poor job, if I'm just being honest with you. They did a pretty poor job in the run game. Of course, Cuevas was really he was exceptional in the passing game. He was one of Ty Simpson's favorite weapons, very productive. Hell, and he gave a lot of effort in the running game. I want to be clear, like, they tried, but they didn't get the production out of that room that they needed. They lacked the physicality. They lacked somebody that could be an enforcer, a guy that could really seal up that C gap. and help kind of just contribute to the running game, right? Instead, we saw guys that were a little bit of liabilities. Josh Ford changes that. And not just Josh Ford, but really a healthy Danny Lewis. We heard Ryan Grubb talk about Danny Lewis being back and how inspiring it's been to see him in there. To me, you got those two guys as your Ys. You got Marshall Pritchett, Caleb Edwards. Those guys are going to be a little bit more on like the receiving end, but also I think have improved as blockers as well. So personally, I think that tight end room is an underrated room, maybe a room that's not getting as much attention. I mean, I think it's starting to, but to your point about Josh Ford kind of being like Robbie Oots is a little bit more of your off-ball tight end, a little bit more of like they use him like as a fullback almost, pretty much what he does with Seattle, just because he didn't have that length, right? He was a little bit more of your H, U. CJ Dupree was more of your true Y, and I think that's, if I had to compare, I would say Josh Ford is a little bit more on along the lines of, sorry. So I was barking, like, I'm like, wait.
You're good. You're
CJ Dupree.
Okay.
CJ Dupree and Josh Ford, I would say a little bit more in terms of like how they will be used, even though those were two different systems, right? CJ Dupree and Robbie Oots, were they with DeBoer 1 year? I don't even remember. Were they here in 24? Yes, no.
Yeah, maybe year one. Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm all over the place. But anyway, yes. Josh Ford is going to be a big pickup for sure. All right, sorry. That was a lot. Lynn says, enjoy your show, Christian. Glad to hear about your additional role in the pregame show and post. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited, man. I love working with Roger, and pregame show is going to be fun, getting you guys ready for the game. The postgame show, just like me and Gray have been doing the last several years, filling you in on what happened in the game. Good, bad, and ugly. We're going to be honest. We're going to break it down, and glad you guys are enjoying that, man. I really enjoy doing that stuff, so I always appreciate you guys mentioning that. What do you think the drop in turnovers is about, Christian? I thought the swarm was supposed to allow defenders to play the ball better. Good question. We'd have to really go back and watch like all the games really to if I'm being honest with you, to give you like a specific, this is exactly why. Because off the top of my head, I don't remember exactly, how everything played out. But I can mention that I feel like the guys do a good job punching at the football. They do like swarming to the ball, right? Like that's effort, right? Everybody, 11 hats to the football. You see guys punching it. I mean, Nakai Hill-Green had several good plays, punching at the football, forcing fumbles. I think there was that one against LSU. Bray Hubbard, always attacking, what you call it, peanut drill, right? Peanut Tillman, known for punching at the football. So a lot of guys you see attacking the football, that's definitely a point of emphasis. So I don't know like the specific numbers of like forced fumbles versus interceptions and like which one of those, how those compare to the year prior. I wish I had those numbers. I could maybe answer that a little bit better, Max. But I would just say also sometimes, man, like sometimes things just also happen, right, Reed? Like, I mean, like just the way, like the teams you play, maybe certain things, the way the offenses you're facing, you might not have as many opportunities. I'll give you an example. Oklahoma, they use a lot of quick game. So here's a stat. People get so caught up on sacks all the time. Well, when you're playing a team that runs a lot of quick game, you don't always have those opportunities, right? And as an edge rusher, we used to get so frustrated because it's like, man, like we want to get after the quarterback. But when they're just sitting there snapping it quick, right? Then when we play off so much, or we did last year, quick game becomes even more, consistent of something that you see. It limits the opportunities of you really affecting the quarterback. So then if someone just goes, oh man, our sack numbers were terrible, sometimes you got to go and look at the whole picture, because if you're playing a team that just getting the ball out quick and they run a whole hell of a lot of screens, you're not going to have a lot of sacks that game. Does that make sense, Reed?
Yeah.
Now, turnovers are probably a little bit different, but does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. There's just so many variables that go into it, not just throughout the season, but really each and every game that could end up relaying why, the drop in turnovers kind of happen.
Yeah, and I mean, turnovers, again, are different. I mean, you can you can go punch a football. Any play you can punch a football out, right? Like, if you're playing a team that runs the ball a lot or has quick game, you're not going to have as many sacks. So it is a little bit different. I know we're talking about turnovers, but I'm pointing out, like, if you're playing a team that runs the ball a whole bunch, you clearly aren't going to expect as many interceptions that week. Does that make sense? Or like, but for like forcing fumbles, That's different. I mean, you could do that on every single play, which it's interesting because I think our turnover numbers were down, but I feel like we still did a pretty decent job. I don't remember where we finished. I'll pull these numbers up because we got to hit a break. But, I mean, I remember, like, Missouri we had – oh, no, Dijon Lee dropped the interception, but he caught one to end the game. I know he had an interception there. I know he had an interception against Tennessee in that for the playing that flat 7 route. It was a 2-point conversion. Xavier Brown had a pick 6 against Tennessee and Oklahoma. Bray Hubbard had, was it 2 interceptions against Wisconsin, I believe. He forced a fumble at Georgia. He forced a fumble. What was the other game? LSU, I think. Yeah, I think he forced a fumble against LSU. So that's what I'm saying. Like, Nikai Hill-Green forced a fumble against LSU. Keon Sabb had a nice interception playing a robber technique against Vanderbilt. The reason I know these things because I did the secondary breakdown, and these are fresh on my mind. Was it this year or maybe it was the year prior? I know, what's his name? Justin Jefferson. No, that was this past year. He had that fumble against Vanderbilt, right? I think. So what I'm saying is I feel like we still did a good job forcing them, but I don't know exactly why they might have been slightly lower, but that definitely still is a point of emphasis. And that is kind of the whole purpose about, hey, let our guys be athletes, play with vision coverage. You know, you hear us quote unquote complaining about zone. It's not complaining, but there are going to be downsides to some of those things. But the positives are, as you guys have seen, right? Like Deontay Lawson, there's times where he's just reading the quarterback. He's in that window. And because he's reading the vision of the quarterback, right? Whether it's a slant window or whatever it is, you know, there's been times, I think it was like, I forgot what game it was, but I don't think he caught it, but he had a couple of almost interceptions by the way they were playing those zone defenses. So there's definitely benefits of what they're doing, and there's a reason for it. So really good question. All right, we got to hit a timeout. We come back, we keep rolling. We got plenty of other questions and intel that we'll talk about following day 6 of fall camp right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
From our home base in Birmingham, Alabama, we are here
treating patients from every generation
across the United States
and from around the world.
We're here for the rookies
And the dreamers,
trying to make a name for themselves.
we are here for the achievers
who are resilient.
and won't take no for an answer.
We're here for the coaches,
athletic trainers, and mentors.
Opportunity to serve your community, committed to integrity, and looking for a career in law enforcement, we invite you to check us out.
Visit tcsoal.org.
Hey, it's Christian Miller, and I wanted to tell you about our friends over at Lamparello Law, Education and Advocacy. Founded by attorney and Professor Adam Lamparello, helping students at every level with mentoring, exam prep, applications, and career planning. Adam also represents students, faculty, and athletes in academic misconduct, First Amendment, NIL, and criminal defense cases. Known for real care and relentless advocacy.
Learn more about sports registration and academic scholarship opportunities at allegames.com. What's the first step in your gold medal journey? Mark your calendar for June 11th to 13th, 2027.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
The flagship station for Alabama Crimson Tide sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right. Let's hit a few more of these. Smitty says a man can only be told he ain't blank so long until he gets kicked or ticked off and shuts people up. That's why I feel good about this team. I mean, that's the energy we got. I mean, remember Coach DeBoer answered that question? I forgot who asked it, but they basically just said, are you hearing like all the outside noise and this, that, and third? And he said, what did he say, Reed? It was just like, we definitely hear it, or we definitely...
Yeah, we've heard it and we are aware.
Yeah, we are aware, yeah. And he was very cut to the chase. So, yeah, I agree. Maybe these people are kind of just sick of the same narrative. To be fair, I mean, Stephen A. Smith, if you need any rat poison, just turn on ESPN or Sports Center, whatever it is. Stephen A. Smith, I feel like every day is like just going. Him and Paul Feinbaum, the two of them, man. They have it out for Kalen DeBoer in Alabama. I don't know what Coach DeBoer did to those two gentlemen, but they ain't cutting no slack, Reed. They ain't cutting no slack. So hopefully these guys are going to use that as some fuel. Christian King says, do you see this battle being similar to Hurts and Tua when Tua was a freshman? So that was 2nd and 26, right? That was the year that Tua ended up kind of coming in, later in the year and kind of saving the day, right, in the national championship game. But do I see it similar to that? I don't think so. Not quite. I can understand kind of some similarities or kind of why you might feel that way, but that was a situation where you had a guy who was like 26-2. Wait, was it that year or was it the following year? Because you said when Tua was a freshman. I guess Jalen wasn't 26-2 at that point. But as a true freshman, Jalen had led us to an undefeated season and led us all the way to the national championship game where we lost at the last second. And then just that year, in 2017, we didn't lose until the Iron Bowl in the regular season. So I don't know if I would necessarily compare it to that, but I can see what you mean where you have like a very talented young guy on the heels of another guy. And there's just a little bit of a conflict there, just trying to figure out how to go about it. But I see where you're going with that, but I feel like it's a little bit different, but I see where you're going with that. Fonzo says, what player on defense most reminds you of yourself when you played at Bama? I would probably say Yonze Pierre. Yonze is definitely bigger than I was, but in terms of a guy that, came in here notably, as an edge rusher, a guy that can get after the quarterback, somebody that has continued to develop as, that edge setter and just has gotten better at that with his game. I would probably say somebody like Yonze. Even the way he rushes, he does a really good job just mixing it up, using his hands. I feel like there's some similarities there. Of course, definitely some differences, but I would probably say maybe Yonze. I love Justin Hill, but Justin Hill was, as a true freshman, way further along than I was, right? He's a guy that it's almost the opposite. He is just a dominant edge setter. For me, I was more like Yonze, where I was known for my pass rush ability, and then I had to continue working on that aspect of my game. As where, Justin Hill is like, he sets the edge better than anybody. And he did that as a true freshman. Now he's kind of fine-tuned his pass rush. So I would probably lean a little bit more towards Yonze with that one. What does East Carolina like to do on offense and defense? I'll be honest with you. I haven't even got to doing the breakdowns for that stuff. So I'll be honest. I don't know enough to tell you specifically. And you guys know I like to really break it down. So give me a week. I'll start kind of game planning that because it is about the time to really start diving into them. But I hadn't got there just quite yet. So I want to wait until I have a little bit more on East Carolina. Hit one more real quick from Newman. Bailey says, seems like the backfield is going to be solid. Do you think this new O-line can get some push? With Michael Carroll at guard, I definitely think there's going to be a little bit more push on the inside there. You got Rayson Delgatti, who we know he's kind of making that transition. Sounds like everything so far has been pretty solid, right? Again, still some things sounding like more of a communication thing, not a physical issue. When Ryan Grubb mentioned he had a little bit of a down day, but he did acknowledge that while Racing Delgatti is known, to move well, right? Play in space, which you taught about, the pin and pull, the counter schemes, everything we've broke down on this channel when we do these film breakdowns. You got to be able to be physical and get pushed when you're running duo, right? We have those deuce blocks. You got the center and the guard working those combos on those defensive tackles. So I think we have a chance to get a little bit more push. I want to see a little bit more of, Mal Waldrop, Will Sanders at guard before I give you a definitive. Because I think, to me, like when I think of getting good push, it's really across the board, but I really think about the interior guys, right? Because that's where you see a lot of those true combos and you're really trying to move those big boys on the defensive line. But I think, Javen James, he's a heavy-handed guy. I'm not too worried about his power. And then on the other side, I know Jackson Lloyd, he struggled a little bit with, bracing for power, but he's put on weight. I think he's gotten stronger. And he was on that freak list. That's pause. We're talking about the football freak list. But he was I think the top guy from Alabama on that list, Reed, with all his numbers. So, I hope they can get more push. But here's the thing, though. Sometimes it's about leverage. It's about technique. And we've been raving about Adrian Clem. And hopefully they can work on that, right? Just playing with better leverage, technique, fundamentals. And that should also help a little bit. So we'll know a little bit more. Scrimmage number 1 is on Thursday, and I think we'll have a better idea. But everybody I've talked to has said that the offensive line and the tight end room is really starting to kind of come along and make some really good progress, right? They're not where they need to be just yet. It's still early. But in terms of seeing signs of things improving, that has definitely been noticeable. So that's always, positive to hear. Smitty says, do you believe Michael Carroll being the most tenured offensive lineman is a good sign? His nastiness and effort should be infectious to the new guys, like his effort on the pick 6 versus Oklahoma. Him being the most tenured, I'll be honest with you, I don't like that because he's only a sophomore. So personally, I'd rather us have some guys that were juniors or seniors that have a little bit more experience just because we're talking about offensive line. But I do think the mentality that he plays with, I think that is infectious. And I believe just even hearing him speak in the press conference thing that he did the other day at Media Days, you can see this guy is a natural leader. And I think when you have a guy that plays the way he plays and is your leader, that naturally is going to rub off on everybody else. So I think the more guys you have like that, the better. And so I'm excited to see Michael Carroll continue to grow, and I want to see him at right guard because he thought about this, Reed. He said he's starting to really like the position. He said he can be nasty, he can be physical, he can basically just bully guys, man. So I'm excited to see it because that's what we need, especially on the interior. Let's call some duo. Work those deuce blocks. I want to see. We saw it during A-Day. And the crazy thing about him is he's not just physical. He's not just going to just get great movement, but he can run. There's that one clip, Daniel Hill had a nice run at A-Day, and they're working like a deuce block, man. He gets great movement. I think they're working it on Devin Tompkins. They get great push and movement on the double team, and then he's climbing to the second level, man. You just see this massive dude just sprinting. I'm like, dude, if you're a linebacker, man, you'll have some problems because this dude is not just strong, but he is fast and athletic. If he gets his hands on you too, good luck. So yeah, I'm excited to see that. We got to hit a timeout.
Just go to US Mobile subreddit. Just search for US Mobile and make a decision for yourself. If you're ready, visit usmobile.com.
Consumer Reports does not endorse products or services.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast. Blistering sunshine, 93. High humidity will make it feel like 105 and a light southwest breeze. Slight chance of a pop-up storm this afternoon. Fair sky overnight tonight, muggy, 76. Wednesday, an afternoon storm chance with a high 95. Sunny skies on Thursday, pushing temperatures to 97. Heat index values around 105. Richard DeWetting at the Weather Channel for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 94 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
The flagship station for Alabama Crimson Tide football.
Alabama touchdown.
Only on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge. Yeah, we probably do have to just break that down, Reed. We probably need to just break that down. We just put up a picture at least and explain all that. We had a question about coverages and personnel grouping. So, yeah, I always love doing that. I love getting into the film room side of things. So we'll definitely keep doing that. With fall camp right now, it's just tough because we're trying to just bring you guys the latest action and news coming out of fall camp. Everybody wants to know about battles and who's standing out, who's doing this, who's doing that. So it's hard to do all that. But just know, if you guys like breakdowns, we are the place to come to, because during the season, we will break down every single game. Every single game we will be breaking down. We'll do previews, of course, but like film breakdowns, we will break down each game that Alabama plays. And then maybe we'll grow into breaking down other games, but it's a lot of tape. So we'll just stick with Alabama for now. All right. I think we're still freed up. Okay, yeah, we don't have any calls, so we're good. I just saw this come up from Nick Kelly. It's kind of interesting. Looks like, of course, we already know Dave Womack, Kane Womack's dad. He's always hovering around there, so that's not new. But it looks like, I guess Alabama had maybe former Sioux Falls. I don't know who is this guy at practice? I don't know. It looked like somebody from Sioux Falls was here at practice. I don't know. Maybe Alabama hired some guys from Kalen DeBoer's previous spot. We did have Kane Womack speak to the media today, like we thought defense did. Of course, we're about out of time, so I think we might as well just save that probably for tomorrow, Reed. That would probably be best. I guess I was rambling and didn't realize he already did speak. So let's we could split it in half and do part of it today and part of it tomorrow. Or we could just save it for tomorrow. What do you think, Reed?
I was just about to say we do actually have a caller if you wanted to hit up Jarvis.
Let's do that. Let's get Jarvis. Okay, Jarvis is still there. I was like, I thought we had somebody, but then all right, I'm sorry, Jarvis. Let's take the phone call. We'll hear from Kane Womack tomorrow. 205-342-9904. We got Jarvis up next. Jarvis, welcome in.
What's going on, Chris? How you doing today?
I'm good, man. What's going on with you?
Oh, nothing much, man. Just excited about this football season and can't wait.
I'm telling you, man. Aren't we all?
I know. I just want to chime in on what y'all was talking about. I think I want my Alabama fans to just look on the brighter side. I know we have a lot of concerns as far as with the defense and the offense, but what if we look at what if? What if we do have a great team? Not a good team, but a great team. And I'm going to explain the reason why. If you can go back, I know a lot of people don't like, Clemson or such and such. But when they did have that freshman quarterback that came on the scene.
Trevor Lawrence?
Trevor Lawrence. He was a freshman, but what did he have surrounded? He had an offensive line, he had a good offense, and he had a good defense. And I think if we can take that mindset as far as the possibility that, hey, what if? I'm just putting that what if out there, okay? So what if over the course of this season, our offensive line becomes a good offensive line? What if our defensive line becomes a good defensive line, or our linebacker core become a good linebacker core? We all know that the secondary is great. We all know that we got good depth as far as on the secondary as well. But what if we put things together and we start rolling at the right time? So I want everybody to think like, hey, what if we do become a great team this season? Who knows? And if we get a running game going, that's going to help our quarterback. Now, I know everyone wants to, Russell. I get it. I like the guy. Like they say, he's a lightning in a bottle. I get that understanding. But I prefer Austin Mack. And I'm going to tell you the reason why, Chris. I know we need playmaker. I know we need playmaker ability as far as when it comes to Russell. But I think Austin can carry this team. I think he can in big games. We haven't seen it yet, but I think Austin can carry this team and help distribute the ball to the playmakers. I think we should give him a shot. Let's see what Austin Mack does. And And if he doesn't, come to, what we would like him to be as a quarterback, then we can try Russell. But I think Matt Austin can really going to shock a lot of people. Not only with his throwing ability, but also he got some jets on him. He got some mobility on him. So that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, he definitely is a sneaky athlete, and I think both guys can distribute. But if you're saying having more command, right, and just kind of operating the offense a little bit more with confidence, I hear what you're saying, and that's why I feel like unless Keelan can really just steal the show, right? We already know he's going to make big plays, but do it consistently and show that he has at least that same level of command. I think more than likely you'll see Austin kind of get the first nod or the first crack at it. But I would not be shocked at all if at one point or another you do see Keelan Russell, just knowing the ability that he has. And to your first point, if all those things go well, I'll tell you what the answer will be. I think Alabama ends up making a postseason run. I think they put themselves in position to make the college football playoffs. Then you kind of see where that goes. Now, that's if all those things work out. And to me, I don't think that's far-fetched. I just think you have to kind of get over a couple of those little hurdles, which if you can, I think Alabama definitely could have a similar year like they had last year where they find themselves in the college football playoffs, maybe 10-2 type deal, getting in there and then seeing what happens from there. So, yeah, I mean, I don't just because a lot of people on the outside aren't really predicting that, Jarvis, I don't think that means, you shouldn't expect that to happen. I just think their path to being that type of team might be a little bit more than some of these other teams, just given kind of where they're at currently. But that doesn't mean they can't get to that point, like you mentioned, with a little bit of, growing pains and experience on the line. Jarvis, I appreciate the phone call, and thank you for being patient, brother. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize you were on the line still.
Oh, it's all good.
Yes, sir. Always good to hear from you, brother. I appreciate you, man.
All right. I'll check in with you tomorrow.
Yes, sir. That sounds good, bro. Good deal, man. That'll do it for us on this Talking Tuesday edition of Miller's Edge. Big thanks to Reed, all our listeners, Tide 100.9 on all the streams. We appreciate you guys for all the love and support. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way out. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe if you haven't already. And come hang out with us tomorrow for a Wednesday edition right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230.